Hey guys, this is AJ from Age's Adventures and happy Star Wars Sunday. Today's fanfic will be what if Ahsoka didn't leave the Jedi Order? Ahsoka Tano stood in the Jedi Council chambers. The weight of the false accusation of bombing the Jedi Temple heavy on her shoulders. She knew she was innocent, but the evidence against her seemed overwhelming. She had been betrayed by someone she thought was a friend, and now she faced expulsion from the order she had devoted her life to. Mace Windu, one of the senior members of the council, spoke first. Ahsoka Tano, you stand accused of bombing the Jedi Temple and the murder of several clones. What do you have to say for yourself? Ahsoka took a deep breath, trying to steady her nerves. I didn't do it, she said firmly. I know that the evidence points to me, but I swear on my life that I am innocent. Yoda, another member of the council, leaned forward. The evidence is strong, young one, he said. The bombs were traced to your quarters, and witnesses saw you leaving the temple after the explosion. I know it looks bad, Ahsoka said, her voice shaking slightly, but I swear to you that I did not do it. I was framed. There was a long silence as the council members conferred amongst themselves. Finally, Mace Windu spoke again. We will conduct a further investigation into the matter, he said. But in the meantime, Ahsoka Tano, you are relieved of your duties as a Jedi and placed under house arrest. Ahsoka felt a wave of relief wash over her. She had been expecting to be expelled from the order altogether. Thank you, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I won't let you down. As the council members filed out of the chamber, Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka's former master, approached her. I believe you, he said, his voice low. I know you didn't do it. Ahsoka looked up at him, grateful for his support. Thank you, Master, she said. I just hope I can prove my innocence. Anakin put a hand on her shoulder. You will, he said firmly. I'll make sure of it. As Ahsoka was escorted out of the chamber, she felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, she could clear her name and return to the life she had always known. She just had to hold on to that hope, no matter how difficult the road ahead might be. Would the council apologize to Ahsoka and make her a Jedi Knight? As the investigation into the bombing of the Jedi Temple continued, the new evidence emerged that exonerated Ahsoka Tano. The true culprit was revealed to be Barriss Offee, a former Jedi Padawan who had been jealous of Ahsoka's close relationship with Anakin Skywalker. With the truth finally revealed, Ahsoka's name was cleared, and she was free to return to the Jedi Order. When Ahsoka entered the council chambers, she was met with a warm welcome. Mace Windu stood to address her. Ahsoka Tano, he said, his voice full of regret. We owe you an apology. You were falsely accused, and we did not trust you as we should have. For that, we are truly sorry. Ahsoka nodded, her eyes filling with tears. Thank you, Master Windu, she said, her voice trembling. I appreciate your words. Yoda, sitting nearby, spoke up. Restored your name. We have, he said, but to make things right, more we must do. Ahsoka looked up, puzzled. What do you mean, Master Yoda? We made a mistake, Yoda said, his voice grave. You were ready for the trials of knighthood when you left the Order, and so we offer you the rank of a Jedi Knight. We offer you now the rank of Jedi Knight. Ahsoka's eyes widened in surprise. You mean it? She stammered. Windu nodded. We do. You have shown courage. We do, he said. You have shown courage, loyalty, and strength in the face of great adversity. You have proven yourself worthy of this honor. Ahsoka could scarcely believe it. After everything that had happened, she was being welcomed back into the Order, with the rank of Jedi Knight, no less. Thank you, she said, her voice filled with emotion. I don't know what to say. Anakin Skywalker, who had been standing silently by, stepped forward. I do, he said, a smile spreading across his face. Congratulations, Ahsoka. You deserve this more than anyone I know. Ahsoka felt a wave of happiness wash over her as Anakin embraced her warmly. She had come so close to losing everything, but now she was back where she belonged. She looked around at the council members, her new peers, and felt a sense of pride and belonging that she had never felt before. As the council members congratulated her and welcomed her back, Ahsoka knew that her journey was far from over. But with the support of her fellow Jedi, she felt that anything was possible. She had proven her innocence, restored her name, and earned the rank of Jedi Knight. The future was uncertain, but Ahsoka was ready to face it head on. What would Anakin do now that Ahsoka was a Jedi Knight? Anakin Skywalker felt a deep sense of pride and happiness as he watched Ahsoka Tano receive the rank of Jedi Knight. He had always known she was worthy of the title, and seeing her finally achieve it filled him with joy. As the council members congratulated Ahsoka, Anakin stepped forward to give her a hug. Congratulations, Ahsoka. Congratulations, Ahsoka, he said, his voice filled with emotion. I always knew you had what it takes. Ahsoka smiled at him, her eyes shining with happiness. Thank you, Anakin, she said. I couldn't have done it without you. Anakin felt a wave of relief wash over him. He had felt responsible for Ahsoka's departure from the Order, and he had been consumed by guilt ever since. But now, seeing her restored to her rightful place, he felt as though a weight had been lifted. I'm just glad you're back, he said, his voice low. The Order needs you. Ahsoka nodded. I'm ready to serve, she said. But what about you, Anakin? Are you okay? Anakin hesitated for a long moment before answering. He knew he couldn't tell Ahsoka everything he was feeling, but he also knew she could sense his unease. I'm fine, he said, forcing a smile. Just a lot on my mind, that's all. Ahsoka looked at him with concern. If you ever want to talk, I'm here, she said. Anakin nodded. I know, he said. Thanks, Ahsoka. I appreciate it. As the council members began to disperse, Anakin pulled Ahsoka aside. I wanted to give you something, he said, handing her a small package. Ahsoka opened it to reveal a new set of lightsaber crystals. Anakin, these are beautiful, she said, running her fingers over the smooth surface. Thank you. Anakin grinned. I thought I thought they might come in handy, he said. You're going to need all of the help you can get. Ahsoka laughed. I'm up for the challenge, she said. Anakin looked at her for a moment, his eyes serious. I know you are, he said, but just be careful, okay? The galaxy is a dangerous place, and the Order, well, the Order isn't perfect. Ahsoka nodded, understanding the weight of his words. I will, she said. I promise. As they parted ways, Anakin watched Ahsoka walk away, feeling a mixture of pride, relief, and sadness. He knew that Ahsoka was destined for greatness, but he also knew that the path she had chosen was fraught with danger. He would always be there for her. He promised himself, no matter what. And maybe, just maybe, he could find a way to reconcile his own doubts and fears about the Order with his loyalty to it. But for now, he would focus on supporting Ahsoka in any way he could, and let the future unfold as it may. Would Anakin still have nightmares of Padme's death? Yes, Anakin would still have nightmares of Padme's death, as these were a deeply ingrained part of his psyche that stemmed from his fear of losing those he loved, despite his happiness at Ahsoka's return to the Order. The memory of Padme's death would continue to haunt him. One night, as Anakin lay in bed, he found himself once again caught in the grip of a nightmare. He dreamed that he was standing on a barren, desolate world, with Padme lying lifeless in his arms. He cried out for help, but no one came, and he was left alone with his grief. As he awoke, gasping for air, gasping for breath, he felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to see Ahsoka standing beside him, her face etched with concern. Anakin, are you okay? She asked. Anakin nodded, trying to control his breath. Just a nightmare, he said, his voice shaking slightly. Ahsoka sat down. Do you want to talk about it? She asked. Anakin hesitated for a moment before nodding. It's about Padme, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Keep seeing her die over and over again. Ahsoka put her arm around him. I'm sorry, she said. I know how much she meant to you. Anakin leaned his head on her shoulder, feeling the tears start to flow. I don't know what to do, he said. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Ahsoka held him close, letting him cry. You're not losing your mind, she said. You're just grieving. It's okay to feel sad, Anakin. It's okay to miss her. Anakin nodded. Anakin looked up at her, his eyes red from crying. But what if I never get over it? He asked. What if I can to move on? Ahsoka squeezed his hand. You will, she said, in time. It won't be easy, but you'll get there. In the meantime, I'm here for you. You're not alone, Anakin. Anakin nodded, feeling a sense of gratitude wash over him, even though he knew he had a long road ahead of him. He felt comforted by the fact that Ahsoka was there to support him. Maybe, just maybe, he could find a way to heal from his past traumas and move forward into the future. Would Anakin tell Obi-Wan and Ahsoka he was with Padme about his nightmares of her dying in childbirth? Anakin had kept his relationship with Padme a secret for so long that the thought of revealing it to Obi-Wan and Ahsoka was daunting. But the more he thought about it, the more he realized that he needed their support if he was ever going to move on from the pain of her loss. One day, when he and Obi-Wan were alone in their quarters, Anakin decided to take the plunge. Obi-Wan, he said, his voice hesitant, there's something I need to tell you. Obi-Wan nodded. Obi-Wan looked up from his datapad, his expression curious. What is it, Anakin? Anakin took a deep breath. I was with Padme when she died, he said, and I've been having nightmares about it ever since. Obi-Wan's eyes widened in surprise. Anakin, why didn't you tell me? He asked. Anakin shrugged. I don't know, he said. I guess I was just afraid of being judged. Obi-Wan shook his head. Anakin, you know you don't have to be afraid of that with me, he said. I'm here for you, always. Anakin felt a sense of relief wash over him. Thank you, he said. Later that day, when he and Ahsoka were on a mission together, he broached the subject again. Ahsoka, there's something else I need to tell you, he said. Ahsoka nodded, looked at him curiously. What is it, Master? Anakin took a deep breath. I was with Padme when she died, he said, and I've been having nightmares about it ever since. Ahsoka's eyes widened and shocked. Oh, Anakin, she said, reaching out to touch him. I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Anakin shook his head. It's not your fault, he said. I needed someone to talk to about it. Ahsoka nodded, her expression sympathetic. Of course, she said. I'm here for you, Master. Always. Anakin felt a sense of gratitude wash over him. He knew that he still had a long road ahead of him, but with the support of Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, he felt like he might finally be able to start healing from his past traumas and move forward into the future. Would Anakin still turn to the dark side? It's difficult to say with certainty whether or not Anakin would still turn to the dark side in this alternate scenario, as his fall was influenced by a multitude of factors, including his fear of losing those he loved, his desire for power, and his manipulation by Palpatine. However, it is possible that the presence of Ahsoka and the support of Obi-Wan could have helped to prevent his fall. If Anakin were to feel himself slipping towards the dark side, it is likely that he would turn to his friends for help. In one such scenario, Anakin might come to Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, expressing his concerns. Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, I don't know what to do, Anakin might say, pacing back and forth in the Jedi Temple. I can feel myself slipping towards the dark side. I'm afraid that I might do something I regret. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka would exchange a worried look, but they would remain calm and supportive. Anakin, you're not alone, Obi-Wan would say. We are here for you. We can help you through this. Ahsoka would nod, her expression compassionate. We all have dark thoughts sometimes, Master. She would say, it doesn't make you a bad person. Anakin took a deep breath, feeling reassured by their words. Thank you, he would say. I don't know what I'd do without you guys. Over time, with the support of his friends, Anakin might be able to work through his fears and doubts and find a way to resist the lure of the dark side. In this scenario, it is possible that he could avoid falling to Palpatine's manipulation and prevent the tragic events of Revenge of the Sith from ever coming to pass. Would the Council find out about Anakin and Padme's children? In this alternate scenario, where Ahsoka remained a Jedi, and Anakin was able to confide in his friends about his relationship with Padme, it is possible that the Council could find out about Anakin and Padme's children. If Anakin were to confide in Obi-Wan and Ahsoka about Padme's pregnancy and the birth of their children, it is possible that Obi-Wan, a member of the Jedi Council, would feel it necessary to report the matter. Master Yoda, Master Windu, I have something to tell you, Obi-Wan might say, entering the council chambers. Anakin and Padme had children. The council members would exchange a shocked glance, and Yoda would turn to Obi-Wan. How is this possible, young Obi-Wan? He would ask. Obi-Wan would explain the circumstances of Anakin and Padme's relationship, and how they had kept it a secret from the council for fear of judgment. Mace Windu would frown deeply, his voice stern. This is a serious breach of the Jedi protocol, he would say. We must address this matter immediately. The council would likely discuss the situation further, debating what action to take. It is possible that they would consider expelling Anakin from the Order, as his relationship with Padme and the existence of their children would be seen as a violation of the Jedi Code. However, given the support that Anakin had received from his friends and the fact that he remained loyal to the Order, it is also possible that the Council could decide to show mercy and keep the matter confidential, allowing Anakin to remain a member of the Order. Regardless of the Council's decision, the revelation of Anakin's children would have far-reaching consequences for the Jedi, and could potentially affect the course of the Clone Wars in the events that led to the rise of the Galactic Empire. Would Palpatine still reveal himself to Anakin as a Sith Lord? It is likely that Palpatine would still reveal himself to Anakin as a Sith Lord. This was a crucial part of his plan to seduce Anakin to the dark side and turn him against the Jedi. In this alternate scenario, Palpatine would still be manipulating events behind the scenes, using the Clone Wars as a cover to consolidate power and eliminate his enemies. He would still be working to turn Anakin to the dark side, playing on his fears and insecurities to gain his trust. One day, one possible scenario could unfold during the events of Revenge of the Sith, when Palpatine is captured by the Jedi and Anakin is sent to rescue him. As in the original timeline, Palpatine would reveal himself to Anakin as a Sith Lord, using his knowledge of the dark side to tempt Anakin and persuade him to join him. Anakin, I am a Sith Lord, Palpatine might say, his voice sibilant and menacing. I have been manipulating events from the beginning. Together, we can rule the galaxy as a master and apprentice. Anakin would be torn between his loyalty to the Jedi and his desire for power and control. In this alternate scenario, however, he would have the support of Ahsoka and Obi-Wan, who would be fighting alongside him to stop Palpatine's machinations. Anakin, don't listen to him, Obi-Wan would say as he and Ahsoka enter the room, their lightsabers ignited. He's trying to turn you to the dark side. Ahsoka would nod, her expression determined. We're here for you, Master, she would say. We won't let him take you from us. Anakin would look between his friends and Palpatine, torn between his conflicting loyalties. Ultimately, however, it is possible that the support of his friends and the realization of the true nature of Palpatine's plan could help him resist the lure of the dark side and reject Palpatine's offer of power. In this scenario, Palpatine's plan to seduce Anakin to the dark side would ultimately fail, and the events of Revenge of the Sith could play out very differently than in the original timeline. Would the Jedi put Palpatine on trial in front of the Senate? In this alternate scenario where Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan were able to resist Palpatine's temptation to the dark side, it is possible that the Jedi would put him on trial in front of the Senate. After Palpatine is defeated, Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan would bring him to the Senate to face justice for his crimes. The Jedi would present evidence of Palpatine's involvement in the Clone Wars and his manipulation of events to gain power, as well as his role in Order 66 in the execution of the Jedi Order. The Senate would be shocked by the revelations and would likely demand a full investigation. Some senators might even call for Palpatine to be tried for treason and other crimes against the Republic. In this scenario, the Jedi would be acting as defenders of justice and democracy, working to expose the corruption that had allowed Palpatine to gain so much power. They would be supported by the loyal clone troopers who had turned against their programming and helped the Jedi defeat the Sith Lord. Palpatine, you stand accused of high crimes and treason against the Republic. Anakin might say, his voice firm. You have manipulated events to gain power and have executed Order 66, which has resulted in the deaths of countless Jedi and innocent civilians. You will face justice for your crimes. Palpatine would sneer, his eyes flashing with anger. You Jedi are fools, he would say. You think you can defeat me? You have no idea of the power of the dark side. The trial would be a tense and dramatic affair, with both sides presenting evidence and making impassioned speeches. Ultimately, it is possible that Palpatine would be found guilty and sentenced to imprisonment or even execution. In this scenario, the Jedi would have been able to prevent the rise of the Galactic Empire and restore justice to the Republic. The events of the Star Wars saga could play out very differently, with the Jedi able to maintain their role as guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy. Who would become the new Chancellor of the Republic? In this alternate scenario, where the Jedi are able to prevent the rise of the Galactic Empire and bring Palpatine to justice, the question of who would become the new Chancellor of the Republic would be a crucial one. After Palpatine is defeated and the Jedi present evidence of his crimes, the Senate would likely hold an emergency session to elect a new Chancellor. The Jedi would be watching closely to ensure that the new leader of the Republic is someone who can be trusted to uphold the values of democracy and justice. Senators, we have just witnessed the downfall of a Sith Lord who has been manipulating events for years to gain power, Ahsoka might say, addressing the assembled senators. It is now our duty to ensure that the Republic is led by someone who can be trusted to uphold the values of democracy and justice. Obi-Wan would nod in agreement. We need someone who is committed to the ideals of the Republic, he might say. Someone who will work to restore peace and order to the galaxy. One possible candidate for Chancellor could be Bail Organa, a respected senator from Alderaan who had been a vocal opponent of Palpatine's policies. Another option could be Mon Mothma, a senator from Chandrila who had been a key member of the Rebel Alliance and a fierce advocate for democracy. After a heated debate, the Senate would finally elect a new Chancellor. The Jedi would be watching closely, hoping that the new leader of the Republic would be someone they could work with to restore peace to the galaxy. And so, I am honored. And so, by the power vested in us by the Republic, and so, by the power vested in us by the Republic, I declare that Senator Bail Organa of Alderaan is the new Chancellor of Alderaan, the Speaker of the Senate might say. As the senators erupt into applause, Bail Organa would step forward, his expression grave. I am honored to accept this position, he would say. I will work tirelessly to restore order and democracy to the Republic, and to ensure that the Jedi are able to continue their vital work of maintaining peace and justice in the galaxy. The Jedi would nod in approval, confident that they had made the right choice. With Bail Organa at the helm of the Republic, they could begin the work of rebuilding and healing the galaxy after years of war and turmoil. What would Bail Organa do with the clones after he became Chancellor? As the new Chancellor of the Republic, Bail Organa would have to make some difficult decisions, including what to do with the clone army that had been instrumental in the war against the Separatists. At a meeting with the Jedi Council, Bail would express his concerns about the future of the clones. The clones have been a vital asset in our fight against the Separatists, he would say. But now that the war is over, we need to consider their fate. We can't just abandon them. Obi-Wan would nod in agreement. The clones are loyal soldiers who have risked their lives to defend the Republic. He would say, we owe it to them to find a solution that is fair and just. Ahsoka would speak up. I think we should consider granting the clones their freedom, she would say. They didn't ask to be created, and they've proven themselves to be more than just mindless soldiers. Many of them have developed personalities and relationships with the people they've served alongside. We can't just treat them like disposable weapons. Bail would listen carefully to their arguments, weighing the options. After much decision, he would make a decision. I agree with Ahsoka, he would say. The clones have earned their freedom, and we can't just abandon them now that the war is over. But we also can't simply release them into society without any support or guidance. He returned to the Jedi. I propose that we work to create a program to help the clones transition to civilian life. We can provide them with education, training, and support to help them build lives for themselves. The Jedi would nod in agreement, relieved that the clones would not be left to fend for themselves. We will do whatever we can to help the clones, Obi-Wan would say. They have been our brothers in arms, and we owe them our gratitude and respect. With the Jedi and the new Chancellor working together, they would develop a plan to support the clones as they transition to civilian life. The clones would be given the opportunity to choose their own paths, whether that be pursuing further education, starting a business, or joining a new community. As the clones began to build new lives for themselves, the Jedi would continue to work alongside them, ensuring that they had the support and guidance they needed to succeed. With this new initiative, the Republic would show that it valued the sacrifices of its soldiers and was committed to providing them with the resources they needed to thrive. Would the Jedi allow Anakin to train his children? After the fall of the Sith, Anakin Skywalker was welcomed back into the Jedi Order. He had played a pivotal role in the defeat of the dark side and was considered a hero. However, there were concerns about his ability to train his children in the ways of the Force. After a meeting with the Jedi, at a meeting of the Jedi Council, Master Yoda expressed his concerns. Anakin, a great warrior, he is, he said, but concerns about his past we have. Train his children we cannot allow. Obi-Wan Kenobi, who had become a close ally and friend to Anakin, spoke up in his defense. Anakin has proven himself to be a dedicated and skilled teacher, he said, and he has a strong connection to his children. I believe he can provide them with the guidance and training they need. Ahsoka Tano, who had also become close to Anakin during their time together, added her thoughts. I think we should trust Anakin, she said. He has been through a lot, and he has learned from his mistakes. He deserves a chance to prove himself as a teacher and a father. The council listened carefully to their arguments, but ultimately they were divided. Some members of the council were concerned about Anakin's past and his connection to the dark side. Others believed that he had redeemed himself and deserved a second chance. Finally, Mace Windu, who had been skeptical of Anakin's redemption, spoke up. I understand the concerns that some of you have, he said, but we cannot deny Anakin the chance to be a father of his children. And if he is willing to take on the responsibility of training them, then we should trust him to do so. The council ultimately agreed, with the condition that Anakin would be closely monitored and that his children would receive additional training from other Jedi Masters. Anakin was grateful for the opportunity to train his children, and he worked hard to be the best teacher he could be. Over time, his children grew in strength and ability, and Anakin's love for them only deepened. He was proud to see them follow in his footsteps and become powerful Jedi in their own right, and the Council, too, was proud of the role they had played in helping to shape the next generation of Jedi. Would Anakin be granted the rank of Master and a seat on the Council? Anakin Skywalker had been a key player in the defeat of the Sith, and his contributions to the war effort were widely recognized. However, his past transgressions still lingered in the minds of some members of the Jedi Council. One day, Anakin received an unexpected summons to appear before the council. He was nervous as he entered the chamber, but he tried to keep his emotions in check. Anakin Skywalker, Mace Windu said. Mace Windu began. We have convened to discuss your status within the Order. Anakin's heart raced. Was he about to be reprimanded for something? Your actions during the war have been commendable, Windu continued, but there are still concerns about your ability to control your emotions. Anakin bristled at the implication that he was not in control of himself, but he managed to keep his voice steady as he responded. I understand your concerns, Master Windu, he said, but I have worked hard to master my emotions and to be a worthy member of the Order. Several members of the Order nodded in agreement, but some remained unconvinced. We have decided to grant you the rank of Jedi Master, Windu said, but we cannot offer you a seat on the council at this time. Anakin felt a mix of disappointment and frustration. He had hoped to be able to serve on the council and to have a greater voice in the affairs of the Order. May I ask why not? He said, trying to keep his tone respectful. Your past indiscretions cannot be ignored, Windu said. We believe you have much to offer the Order, but we need to see more evidence of your commitment to the Jedi way. Anakin understood the Council's decision, but he couldn't help feeling a sense of disappointment. He had hoped to be able to contribute more to the Order, and he felt that his past mistakes were holding him back. Despite this setback, Anakin continued to work hard to strive to be the best Jedi he could be. Over time, he earned the trust and respect of his fellow Jedi, and his reputation as a skilled warrior and teacher continued to grow. He may not have a seat on the council, but he knew that his contributions to the Order were valued, and that he had much to offer as a Jedi Master. So that's the end of my fanfic. So right now I'll do my closing and say bye. Make sure to like, comment in the discussion tab, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye! Bye!